We are in Sunset Sound here in Los Angeles, and we are in room Studio 1. Your first record was recorded here. How many records did you do at this studio? Two records. 1967, the first record.
All right.
How much has this room changed? Let's just start with that. Is this room pretty similar to what it was?
Well, the shape of the room's the same, but it's totally, you know, they've done stuff to make it liver or deader. And I don't know. There used to be a cottage cheese ceiling. You know that? Remember those?
Yeah.
Asbestos, that's why we're had cancer. And it was just, there was no wood panels or nothing. It was just really like an office building or something.
Yeah. But the shape's the same, you know, that control room and the couch we sat on, and I'm having an acid flashback. You know?
Okay, where would the drums be set up?
Behind you.
Behind me,
right
okay.
There. Yeah.
And then
And Ray was sort of over there.
Okay.
I think.
I would move around different places, but mostly over here.
And Jim was in a vocal booth sort of here or somewhere around here.
Okay, would Jim typically be in a vocal booth? Is that how recordings would happen then?
Yeah, because you know, we only had 4 tracks, so you couldn't leak. Didn't want to have it leak.
There were a lot of baffles, but we were all together in the same room, which is how to do it.
Okay, let's back up. Just in general, because we're talking about stuff that happened a long time ago. 1967 was almost 60 years ago. When you guys would write songs, would they typically be written in a room together where you're jamming, you come up with an idea, somebody has a riff, or you write a song at home, Light My Fire, you come in and say, hey, I've got this song and I have one verse or something, or
Well, Light My Fire was written in my house where I grew up in the Palisades, which has burned down.
So when we get up there, we'll see if it's still standing.
Yeah, I don't think so. So
The stuff
I should have said, "Don't light my fire," instead of "Light My Fire."
I would say by the third album, the pressure of getting hits makes you write in the studio. But before then, we wrote in the rehearsal room primarily, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd have a fairly completed song, or Jim would have just some lyrics, and Ray'd have a riff, and we.
Yeah, I mean, at first Jim had about 10 songs that he had just came into his head. You know, he wasn't a musician or anything, so.
Oh, let me say, he said he thought of melodies to remember the lyrics, but he couldn't play a chord.
Okay.
But my God, the melodies, before you, I can't sing, slip into unconsciousness. That's a fucking complicated
melody.
Yeah, and it would just come into his head. He would he would hear it like it was a concert.
Yeah.
And then it was up to Ray and John and I to make it sound how he thought it would. So that was in the beginning, and as time went on, you know, I started writing more of the songs by myself, and then he would put some words to it, or we would write. The two of us wrote quite a few songs together at my house, which burned down. So it was all different ways.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
Paul worked with you for every record but the last, was it?
Right.
Yeah.
How did you get to work with him, and what did producers do back then? Like, what was his role?
Well, I didn't know that you could get a more dampened drum sound, and that sounded better. I thought you just play live, and you know. So I was apprehensive of that, but then I learned to love it, and Paul kind of taught us how to get good sound in the studio. Bruce Botnick was the engineer.
And what was amazing was that when I was in high school up at Menlo Park, a lot of the guys in that school were from back east. And Paul was from back east, so he produced all this stuff for Elektra, which I just was
Yeah.
a big fan of,
Yeah.
like, you know, Kerner, Ray and Glover and
Paul Butterfield.
Jug Band,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And I was listening to all this stuff. And, wow, this Paul Rothschild guy must be cool. You know? And then when he became our producer, it was like a miracle.
Heaven.
It was like amazing.
But Paul had a strong personality.
Okay.
And so I would say he, after a while, got a little dictatorial. And how many takes did we do on Unknown Soldier? This was not here. That was a TTNG.
Well,
50.
you know, the
or
first
100 or-
album, we didn't have time to mess around like that. So, you know, the whole album took a week and a half.
Right.
But as time went on and more money was available, Paul kind of went crazy, and he would take days to get a drum sound and stuff like that.
And so then finally, the last album we produced with Bruce Botnick. And
Yep.
Paul, what did he say? Riders on the Storm was cocktail music. Whoops, missed that one. And Bruce would say, I'd be tapping around for 20 minutes, and Bruce would say, yeah, okay, you got it. You know how to do this. Whereas it would be hours before, you know.
Yeah. Would you do takes until you got the right one, or would you edit together? If you had the good beginning of one and then the ending of another one, would they edit the tape and just connect, you know? We got everything but the, you
Yeah,
know.
both ways. Both
Okay,
ways, yeah.
so both ways. And they would edit the actual multi-track
Yeah,
tape.
Paul was an expert editor.
Okay.
He showed me a picture of when he was doing Paul Butterfield.
Yeah.
And there was tape, tape glued up on the wall all around the room. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
You know, it
Amazing,
was
amazing.
tape, cut in
with
tape,
the razor
and
blade.
glue
Yeah, that
and
was
crap.
before the
Botnick was
digital
technically
editing.
great.
And
And I had a big mouth about timing, so I would be there with all the edits, you know, because it has to be absolutely precise, or